Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcasting to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump was sworn into office this evening, bringing about a new era to Washington's Middle East policies. EU Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini declares that the European Union is determined to protect and preserve the nuclear accord with the Islamic Republic of Iran and will not allow Washington under the Trump administration to partially renegotiate the deal. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov declares that Moscow has observed positive signs in the Syria peace conference scheduled for next week in Kazakhstan. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump was sworn into office this evening, bringing about a new era to Washington's Middle East policies. President Trump has already announced several steps against the Palestinians' interests, such as the moving of the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, and his inauguration today has increased tension in the Palestinian territories. An Israeli security official said that the IDF has prepared for an escalation in light of the president's speech, noting that his statements are expected to inflame the situation on the ground. Dozens of Palestinians have already flooded the streets of the West Bank to demonstrate against the new American president, saying that Trump's pledge to move the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem will end all options of achieving peace, while promising to fight against Washington's decision. The Palestinian frustration has brought about a strong warning from their leadership, stressing that if Trump follows through with his decision, it would end all relations between Israel and the Palestinians.
Definitely this step will put an end for any relationship between the Palestinian leadership and the Palestinian state and the state of Israel. If this is a serious step, this will put an end to any serious hope for peace, especially that this settlement is illegal and it would divide the West Bank and would lead to a situation that nobody can control.
Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, following an emergency meeting he held in the West Bank city of Ramallah, voiced hope that Trump would not follow through on his embassy pledge and will assist in restarting negotiations that would bring about a viable solution to the decades-old conflict.
نحن قلنا للسيد ترامب نتمنى أن لا ينقل السفارة من تل أبيب إلى القدس لأن القدس من وجهة نظر إسرائيل مدينة موحدة، وهذا غير صحيح طبعا، غير قانوني، وبالتالي في أي مكان ينقل السفارة ينقلها سابقا لكل ما يمكن أن يحصل في المستقبل، يعني يعطل عملية السلام، ولذلك نتمنى أن يوقف هذا وأن تبدأ المفاوضات على أساس الشرعية الدولية.
The Palestinian leader's hope might be naive, however, as President Donald Trump decided to appoint Jewish advocate Professor David Friedman as his new ambassador to Israel, a man who has been advocating and fundraising for Jewish settlements in the West Bank and has declared favor to annex Judea and Samaria, the biblical names for the West Bank, to the rest of Israel, rather than pursue a two-state solution. The decision to appoint Professor Friedman has encouraged Israel's right-wing factions, whom have voiced hope that President Trump will usher in a new era of support for Israeli settlement building on lands Palestinians demand for their future state, and abandon the notion of establishing a Palestinian state altogether. Education Minister Naftali Bennett, in a press conference ahead of the American president's inauguration, declared that his faction will move forward to advance in the annexation of the West Bank city of Ma'ale Adumim as a first step in annexing the entire West Bank to Israel.
הקמת מדינה פלסטינית תציף אותנו בפליטים, ואנחנו לא ניתן לכך יד. אנחנו נצעד קדימה כבר במושב הנוכחי, כדי להכיל ריבונות על מעלה אדומים, ומשם נמשיך הלאה.
Trump, who has said he wants to meet Netanyahu at the first opportunity, promised to bolster the relations with Israel by pursuing a more pro-Israeli policy, yet only time will tell how he would advance that policy in practice. Meanwhile, with regard to the nuclear agreement with the Islamic Republic of Iran, EU Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini declared that the European Union is determined to protect and preserve the accord and will not allow Washington under the Trump administration to partially renegotiate the deal that has limited Tehran's nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief.
On the Iran deal, we've made very clear from the beginning, and will continue to do that first of all, it's a deal that 1 year after its implementation, it's bringing good results to the rest of the world, entire world, including the Americans, including Europe, and that the European Union is committed to preserve and continue to implement the deal. And the deal is not a unilateral, bilateral deal that can be renegotiated by one party alone. So it's a multilateral framework, and we are ready to protect and preserve it. So I think it's very clear to everybody that reopening it partially would not be possible. And by the way, it's delivering on the nuclear-related steps that Iran has taken, certified 4 times by the IAEA in this first year, and it's delivering also for the Iranian people.
The comments by the European top diplomat came following several declarations made by President Donald Trump during his election campaign, in which he called the nuclear agreement with Iran the worst deal ever negotiated and threatened to either scrap the accord or seek a better deal. The declarations by President Trump have brought about several warnings by Iran's leadership, stressing that any change to the agreement would bring about dangerous consequences. Nevertheless, Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif, who headed the Iranian negotiations with world powers, said he reserved judgment on the new American administration until it takes office, and that he would base it on the actions Washington will pursue.
I believe that we need to wait for the administration to take office before we start passing judgments. Of course, we have very fundamental differences with the United States. We tried to resolve one issue, and that was not just with the United States, but with the United States and 5 other countries and the European Union. And that has been working, at least from our side, pretty well. And we have seen even the Obama administration not being very forthcoming from our perspective in implementing its side of the bargain.
The comments by the Iranian top diplomat came just 2 days after Iranian President Hassan Rouhani said that he was optimistic about the future of the nuclear agreement and warned President Donald Trump that the accord is a win-win for everyone. Now, with regard to the Syria conflict, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov declared this morning that Moscow has observed positive signs in the Syria peace conference, emphasizing that a meeting in the Kazakh capital of Astana, which is scheduled to take place next week, was an important step towards establishing a framework for talks that are scheduled to take place in Geneva.
Также обнадеживает то, что в сирийском кризисе наметились позитивные подвижки. По крайней мере, все сейчас уже согласны с безальтернативностью политико-дипломатического урегулирования через общенациональный диалог на основе резолюции Совета Безопасности ООН. Как вы знаете, на следующей неделе в Астане состоится межсирийская встреча между делегацией правительства Сирии и вооруженной оппозицией. Рассматриваем эту встречу как важный вклад в выработку параметров всеобъемлющего политического урегулирования в Сирийской Арабской Республике, который продолжится на более широких мероприятиях в Женеве уже в начале февраля.
The Astana talks, which were brokered by Russia, Turkey, and Iran, are expected to see both the Syrian government and rebel groups negotiate a foundation for a political process that would further bolster nationwide cessation of hostilities enforced under the auspices of Moscow and Ankara, and is also expected to provide a platform for the United Nations broker negotiations in Geneva that are scheduled to take place on the 2nd of February. Thank you for watching us. Praying for the peace of Israel and the peace of Jerusalem. I'm Jonathan Hessen. Erev Tov and Shabbat Shalom. And we will see you again on Monday at the same time.
In order to donate to TV7 Israel News, Please follow these simple steps. First, press the Donate logo, located at the bottom left side of TV7 Israel News Facebook page, or on the Donate tab at the head of the page. Then insert the amount you'd like to donate, and fill in your credit card information. Just like this. And press Review Donation and continue. After reviewing your donation details, please press Donate to finalize your donation. That's it! Your donation is now complete, and an email with your donation details has been sent to your email address. You can also print your donation receipt by pressing the link here. Thank you for supporting TV7 Israel News.